sundown at the Studio Drive-In in Culver City, California. Patrons arrive as they've done the past 50 years. They're going to a movie, but to some, it feels more like coming home.
Where I grew up in Texas, it was the thing to do to go to the drive-in. Monday night, a friend of mine had a 56 Dodge, and it was dollar night, and everybody, as many people as you could get into the car, could get in. So we had them in the trunk and the back seat, and so that was the drive-in for me.
In 1963, more than 4,000 drive-in theaters dotted the landscapes of all 50 states. Even Alaska had 2 of them. But by 1993, a survey revealed that less than 800 remained, and even those were closing at the rate of about 2 a week. A fact that would have depressed Richard Milton Hollingshead Jr. Experimenting with a Kodak projector on the roof of the family car and a screen nailed to a tree, Mr. Hollingshead concluded outdoor movies would draw a crowd, especially if folks never had to leave their cars. He opened the world's first drive-in theater on June 6, 1933 in Camden, New Jersey. So what if patrons could barely hear the single loudspeaker mounted atop the screen? A new age had dawned, and everyone wanted to ride along.
We had one guy that was rather dangerous. He was hanging on underneath the car to get in. Yeah, we got down to the box office, and he burned his arm a little bit on the muffler, and he yelled, and that's how they caught him.
Frank Diaz spent 43 years working for Pacific Theaters, the world's largest owner of drive-ins.
You might say I grew up in the drive-ins.
He began as an usher at the Vermont in Gardena, California.
I think the Sunday before we actually opened the theater for cash, they had about 400 cars there that came in just to look and see what the theater looked like, because it was such a novel thing then.
Get more out of life. Come often and bring your family to our drive-in theater.
Before the show, lessons on how to use the drive-in.
Please remember to replace the speaker on the post when you leave the theater.
But most of all, how to use the concession booth.
So come on, folks, let's join the band as we all head for the refreshment stand.
Hungry? How about a hearty Castleberry's pit-cooked barbecue sandwich?
Try Flavos. You'll say they're shrimply delicious.
You like our pizza pies, made from a famous Italian recipe.
I eat popcorn. Everybody eats popcorn. She tastes real nice.
Don't laugh. These clips worked. Statistics from the 1950s and 60s revealed drive-in patrons spent nearly twice as much on food and beverages as they did in walk-in theaters.
Hot dog? Yes, sir.
Drive-in operators would stop at nothing to attract an audience. Ed Brown's Fly-In Drive-In in Asbury Park, New Jersey, featured room for 500 cars and 25 airplanes. Ed built his theater next to a landing strip. Also, operators in northern states did whatever they could to prolong the drive-in season, even going so far as to give their patrons a free gallon of gas so they'd come, idle their engines, and run their car heaters during the movie. And if it rained, not to worry.
Simply press suction cups to the windshield as shown in the detail on your instruction sheet.
Any bugs? No problem. This theater's been sprayed. The insecticide of choice, usually DDT. Anything for the customer. On puppy night, Frank Diaz gives away a young collie. On oven night, he and James Whitmore part with an O'Keefe and Merritt. Finally, bank night, which offered the promise of money for nothing except showing up. Drive-ins tried harder for a reason. Owned by independent operators, major studios would not release first-run films there. Consequently,
the drive-ins were a great boost to the independents. Probably the company that took most advantage of it was AIP, a company I was never actually a member of, but which I made, I guess, around 30 or 40 films for.
No matter where you go or what you do or who you kill, I'll love you till the day I die.
American International Pictures got rich producing quickly made, low-cost science fiction or horror films, many which never screened in indoor theaters. It would seem patrons weren't coming for the movie, and a 1959 survey proves it. The most frequently cited reason for attending drive-ins? Tickets were cheaper than at walk-in theaters. Besides, sitting in the Studebaker was more comfortable and definitely more private, which meant more fun. All this, and you could be out of doors, ranked 6th, actually going for the movie. But when folks got carried away with reasons 3 and 4, meaning Frank Diaz couldn't see any heads, he moved in.
If they were doing something in a car that we didn't think they should be doing, well, we'd have to jostle the car, make a little noise, and disrupt things and keep them from doing it.
30 years since first romancing at the Studio Drive-In, Bob and Donna O'Brien keep coming back.
It's comfortable. You can dress comfortably and sit down and relax. If I want to lay my head back and sleep a little bit.
Would she let you sleep?
If there's an exciting part, she'll punch me and say, you're missing a good show.
Oh, you're talking about the movie.
The movie, yeah.
As cities expanded in the 1970s and 80s, the cheap land operators bought for their drive-ins wasn't so cheap anymore. Some called it progress.
And I knew some drive-in owners who said, it's time to sell. I can make more money selling this land to a developer or building a shopping center or something myself and develop it than I can by running it as a drive-in.
And it seems kids also prefer going to multiplex theaters or hanging out in shopping malls. And B-movie producers, today they skip the drive-ins and release directly to home video. Across the nation, theaters like the El Monte or the Centinela are running down or have closed altogether. Maybe the sound was bad, the movie's second-rate, or the weather cold. Still, that's never why people like Dan Woodruff came.
There was sort of a rites of passage because my father had gone to the drive-in, and I remember finding an old drive-in movie speaker in the garage, and I didn't know what it was. I said, "What is this?" And he said, "Oh, you'll find out what this is."
It's an era that I don't think will be repeated. I think it's gone, and whatever's left of it will be a matter of convenience for the few drive-in fans that will still continue to go to drive-ins.
Get more out of life. Come often and bring your family to our drive-in theater.
For AMC in Hollywood, I'm Peter Jones.